I am reading again a harmony of the Gospels, looking at Matthew 12:38 to 42. Reading it in Greek with translation and commentary. Tata epekrithe san auto, tenes ton grammateon kai pharisaion legantes didaskele, thelamen apa su semean idein. Then certain of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, Teacher, we would see a sign from you. They want to see some sort of a sign. But notice the answer that Jesus gives. Hade apokrithes epenautois, genea panera kai moi kalis semean episete kai semean u da thesitai aute, eme ta semean Jonah tu prophetu. And he answering and said to them, an evil and adulterous generation is seeking a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of Jonah the prophet. He's looking at the sign of the resurrection. No sign is going to be given now except the sign of Jonah the prophet. Hospergar ein Jonas en te koilia tu ketus, tres hemeras kai tres nuktas, hutos estai hahuias tu anthropu en te cardia, tes gates, tres hemeras kai tres nuktas. For as Jonah was in the belly of the fish 4 days and 4 nights, or we could even translate this, the belly of the whale, 3 days, not 4, 3 days and 3 nights. Thus shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. By the way, Jesus is predicting his own death and looking toward his resurrection. In other words, any part of a day is considered a day. He died on Good Friday, part of a day. He was in the tomb on Saturday, and he arose on the first day, Yom Rishon, or Sunday. So any part of a day equals a day, and he's giving a prediction. As Jonah was in the belly of the fish, the whale, 4 days or 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth. He's predicting here his resurrection. That will be the only sign remaining, and the sign that he has left. Andres ninuitai anastes santa in te Christe metates geneas tautes kai katokrenusen autein hate mete na esan es ta kerugma Jonah kai edu pleon Jonah hodem. That is, the men of Nineveh, the Ninevites, the Ninevites, will arise in the judgment with this generation, and they will condemn her because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And behold, one greater than Jonah is here. Jesus is saying that you're worse off than the Ninevites, speaking to those in his generation because of their unbelief. They will rise up in the judgment and condemn this generation because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and a greater than Jonah is here. Jesus is greater than Jonah, he's saying. Furthermore, Basilisa not to egerthesetai ente Christe metates geneas tautes, kai kato krene autein, hate eothen ekton peraton tes ges akusa, ten Sophian Salomonas kai edu, pleon Salomonas hodep. The queen of the south. Speaking of the queen of Sheba here, he's now saying, notice what happened with the queen. The queen of the south came, and to the queen of the south shall rise up, I should say, in the judgment with this generation and shall judge her, because she came from a long distance. She came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, a greater than Solomon is here. So basically, he is saying, I'm greater than Solomon in my wisdom. And she came to hear of his wisdom, and you all haven't responded at all. Seems to be the point that the Lord is making. But then he goes on, Hatendeta akathartan numa exeothe apatu anthropu dierkatai di anudron tapon zetun anapasen kai uk huriske. But the unclean spirit, when the unclean spirit came out from a man, notice he is passing through waterless places to seek if he can find more to dwell. So he passes through waterless places seeking rest and finds it not. So then notice what he says, the unclean spirit. But the unclean spirit then lege eis tan oikon mu epistrepso hathen exeothen kai elthon huriske scaladzon ta cesaromenu kai kekas memenon. Then he is saying, that is, the unclean spirit is saying, I will return unto my house from where I came out. And when he is come, he finds it empty, swept, and garnished. In other words, he goes back to where he came and he finds everything swept and garnished, possibly speaking about the ministry of John the Baptist. And now he's going to go back to that, to what had happened, and go in that house and make it worse than what it was. So notice, then he goes, let me just read it. Tate paruatai kai paralambane meschet autu, hepta hetera numata paneratera he autu kai eselthanta katoike eke, kai geneta ta eskata tu anthropu, akenu kerana ton proton, hutos estai kai te genea taute te panera. Then he goes, that is the unclean spirit, and takes with himself 7 other spirits more evil than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. In other words, there had been like a house cleaning under John, and now they go back to that house cleaning, and it's make it worse, Jesus is saying, because they're rejecting him, the one that John was pointing to. So the last state of that man becomes worse than the first. In other words, he's saying, you're worse off now than you were before the ministry of John the Baptist, is the way I'm taking it. So even so shall it be unto this evil generation. In other words, you basically have fallen away worse than what you were before the house sweeping of John the Baptist. By accusing me, Jesus is saying, to be in league with Satan.